focus on digital assets exchange quite now. But just the protocol, different blockchains, like different contracts, they need to have a different contract to work together, depend on different scenario. For example, why we have multiple blockchain protocols. For example, sometimes you're just needing the identity mapping or account mapping is enough, maybe. In the blockchain and another blockchain, you need mapping. Okay, those data, for example, the car data, and the other, financial data is belong to same person or same one, insurance information. You can do the identity mapping through the distributed identity framework. And another level, maybe you have a distributed data exchange, and also include, of course, the data, digital assets exchange as well. So that is different interchain protocols. And more the infrastructure level, sometimes you need the consensus level to integrate it. Means a different consensus node in the mainnet or different blockchain also can be the consensus node for the other business blockchain, sub-blockchain. That is have different solution for this part. In our solution, one solution is some consensus node group can be support different multiple chain. Another is kind of like the project Polkadot right now doing is relay chain to support to the transfer the consensus model mechanism cross chain. So the ontology will include those kind of multiple protocols. Some protocols developed or designed by ourselves. Some protocols is from the other project. We want to integrate those protocols, give the option for different business blockchains. They can choose different protocols to do the interaction for this part. Yeah. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Oh, thanks for the great talk. So we actually are partnered with NGC, so thank you for your support. I'm kind of wondering, for the two projects between Neo and Ontology, are there any plans besides the cross-chain communications to actually integrate the two chains? Since Ontology is a multi-chain project, is there any plans to kind of merge the two in the future, or will they remain separate indefinitely?
We don't have a plan to merge it, but currently you can, if you, we set up a joint workforce, so to unify the standard of smart contract. So if you know how to do smart contract on Neo, you definitely will know how to do it on Ontology. So we will share the same ecosystem, developers ecosystem. Yeah.
Quick question on the same relationship. You mentioned that Ontology will use the public blockchain as well.
Mm-hmm.
Will this mean that by any chance Ontology will compete with Neo?
Ontology and Neo are focusing on different directions. Neo will be used as a platform to do token sale, to do decentralized exchange, and we are also aiming at the gaming market. And Ontology is more focused on identity and all the trusted data that is linked to the identity and data exchange. So just as Li Jun just said, Ontology is not a platform to just issue tokens. It's more about doing migrating existing business onto Ontology network. So they're moving into different direction and are aiming at solving different problems.
So speaking of the smart contracts you were talking about, so are there going to be just Neo smart contracts and Ontology smart contracts, or will it just be one smart contract, group that is used interoperable on both platforms?
I think naming is a tricky thing. You can call it Neo smart contract or call it Ontology smart contract, or maybe you call it unified smart contract or universal smart contract. So the smart contract standard will remain the same. The interface will remain the same. So the naming is open to discuss.
So to expand on that, could you see other blockchains adopting this smart contract universal?
Definitely. There are other public blockchains are using or plan to use Neo VM or Ontology VM.
what I like to call the Neo ontology takeover.
Yeah, actually already have several projects to use our the smart contracts mechanism and the VM, that's part. But that is standard. That means to have a different implementation. Like ontology is implemented in Go language and Neo in C#. And also you can doing that there's a C++ or the other language to implement those kind of standards. And the way we are supported is design and standardized and also security service for this part. Yeah.
And
Thank you.
There's one VM developed by new community. They write it in C++, and they don't even call it new VM. They call it Hyper VM.
Hyper VM. Wow, interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up. Thank you.
More questions?
I'm not sure if this is the right question to ask, but eventually Neo is going to have a new ID and Ontology have the on ID. How are these two ID can work eventually be the same thing, or it will be a two different ID? Can they like cross-platform communicate to each other?
Ontology ID actually is not an ID service. It's an ID framework. That means different ID, including Neo ID or Open ID or Facebook ID or Microsoft ID, can be listed their service under the framework. That means different IDs is in the different means a different account system in different scope or different ecosystem. Those ID all can be one of service linked together on ontology identity framework. That can mapping. That is the relationship. Neo's ecosystem still can have the Neo ID to cover the ecosystem, like token issue or gaming or the other application. But they can link the identity through the ontology identity framework with other identity system or account system that can mapping the data together. Yeah.
Thank you.
Will the Neo exchange support ontology tokens?
So I've worked for Walmart. I work for Tyson Foods now, and just right there in our part of the world, we've got JB Hunt, Walmart, Tyson Foods. All three are still just kind of hacking around with Hyperledger. So what's kind of the plan to I guess make inroads, you know, into the United States market and sell United States companies on ontology and help them understand the benefits of using that versus some of these older blockchain platforms?
I think this real example is more powerful things to show the capability. So ontology is currently focused on with partner, especially in different industry. We want to build some real business case as example ontology in different industry. And the other company, no matter where they come from, which country come from, they show the example and figure out the benefits for this example. They are easily to convert or private the decentralized service. And beside that, since our open source platform, we're also willing to support to work together with different industry to build the modules for specific requires meet the requirements from industries. For example, the supply chain or the other different kind of the industry, we build the specific module for those kind of industry, help them to convert or supply the decentralized service based on the module. This is our ways. We want to focus on infrastructure. Of course, we have we have built the team in US to engage the large company and important partner to work together, build the production and the new infrastructure for different industry. That's right. Yeah. Okay. No more question? Okay.
Let me add a few sentences. I think making U.S. Enterprises to adopt a Chinese-initiated a project that is initiated from China, it's not easy. The only way to do that is we do everything much better. And Neo is doing quite well. There are many European-based companies. There are some US-based communities are using NEO because they realize that NEO is a better technology than many other competing blockchains. And the same thing, I think the same thing will be, we will do the same thing with Ontology. Yeah, we will prove that Ontology has better technology. Yeah, thank you.
And for this question, I want to final word is my own point of view. Maybe not suitable to talk about, but I still want to highlight. You will review today's internet industry and review the top 20 the internet-based company. Almost all is from China and the United States. That means those two big markets have enough talents pool and the market business scenario. I guess because blockchain also is kind of platform-based industry, I guess still also the long-term competition, we are still in the US market and the China market, US team and China team. And of course, there's two important markets in the global world. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all today and afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.